Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're really excited to share more details around the Love Where You Live grant opportunity. I am Miranda Fishback Enquist. I'm the Grants and Partnerships Director here at Legacy Foundation. And during today's webinar, I'm joined by Donna Stuckert, our Community News and Initiatives Manager. She is the primary contact for this grant opportunity. And then towards the end of this session, we will be welcomed by Kelly Bear, our grants coordinator and the guru of our online grants portal. And she will do a little walkthrough of the online system.
Good morning.
So I know this is not anyone's more than likely first Zoom session, but just a few quick reminders as we move through this session today. Please, for the in-person Zoom today, but also for the recording quality, since we are recording, if you could please try to keep yourself muted while you are not speaking on the session. We do anticipate a relatively large group during the Zoom today. We are recording if you were not on when you heard the recording in session. And we will be emailing out the recording to everyone that registered along with the PowerPoint slides. It will also be uploaded to the grants section of our website and then to our YouTube page for anyone who is interested in watching it. And then we will have a relatively lengthy Q&A session at the end of the presentation. However, feel free to please put your questions along the way in the chat box. Kelly B will be monitoring the chat throughout the presentation and will be making note of all of those questions. So then we will be able to revisit those during the Q&A session. So just a little bit about Legacy before we dive into the grant opportunity. Legacy Foundation is the community foundation for Lake County, Indiana. We serve all 19 municipalities throughout the county, and we are fortunate to be able to work with donors to help them reach their charitable giving goals. We work one-on-one with organizations to help them strengthen their capacity building so they can better support the communities that they serve throughout the county, and we do that through various trainings and workshops, grant opportunities, and just through conversations with them to strategize. In 2025, we awarded about $5.9 million in grants. Through our scholarship program, we support current high school seniors along with college students, returning college students, and we awarded over $1.5 million in scholarships in 2025. And then we are able to work with local residents and small businesses to help them individually strengthen their community, their sense of belonging, and resources throughout their community so they are able to uplift one another throughout their community. So now the whole reason we are here today, the Love Where You Live grant opportunity, and I do have to say I'm so excited about this opportunity. So I'm going to start by providing a more broad overview of the program. We'll get into some information around eligibility when it comes to the application process, how we anticipate awards to look. We will get into eligibility of projects, expenses, all of those great things. We'll take a little bit of a detailed look at the round one proposals and then what we're looking for when it comes to the review process. So this opportunity is really focused on transforming shared spaces into vibrant community assets that reflect the voices, identity, and aspirations of Lake County residents. We're looking for projects that create welcoming places where people can gather and connect and share their community life together. And that is really a big piece of this project. We're wanting these places around the county to be a place that people are wanting to come to, share their day-to-days with one another, and share their live experiences together. Projects should demonstrate a strong community benefit, readiness to move forward, organizational capacity, and a thoughtful plan for long-term maintenance and sustainability. All projects must be located in Lake County, and the proposed project components must be completed by November 1st, 2028. And throughout all of those pieces, we will dive into a little bit more details around each of those bullets more closely throughout this program. So the goals of this program are really centered around creating that more inclusive, welcoming, and community-driven public space across Lake County. And we're really wanting to see these spaces be awarded throughout the entire county. We're wanting to support projects that expand equitable access to high-quality gathering spaces, empower residents to help shape the places that they use, and strengthen the community connection and civic life. We're wanting to see the voices of the residents really live within these spaces that are transformed in the community. The program also encourages investments that improve accessibility and universal design, so all residents are able to actively participate in these spaces while helping transform vacant or underutilized spaces into vibrant community assets that reflect the identity and voices of the people who call Lake County home. So what does the Love Where You Live grant opportunity look like when it comes to a funding space? So we have $4 million as part of this initiative, and the awards will range from $100,000 to $1 million. And we anticipate the funding structure to be approximately 5 to 7 projects ranging from $100,000 to $500,000, and approximately 3 to 4 larger scale projects between 500,000 to 1 million. But I do want to stress that again, that this is approximate. It is not set in stone when it comes to those exact number of projects which in each of those ranges. Awards are intended to support projects and their full request amount whenever possible, though partial awards may occasionally be considered when appropriate based on the budgets and project ideas that are submitted. And while matching funds are not required, proposals with additional committed resources may be viewed more competitively by the committee. Payment schedules for awarded organizations will be established as part of the grant agreement process. This is not going to be a reimbursement grant for all of the governmental organizations that are on the call with us. So who is eligible to apply for this opportunity? This opportunity is open to a range of organizations, and if you are used to our traditional regular grant opportunities, you might see that this list is a little bit more extensive than our traditional grant opportunities. So it is open to a range of organizations serving Lake County, including 501c3 and C4 nonprofits, municipalities and local government entities, parks departments, libraries, public agencies, and collaborative partnerships led by eligible nonprofit or public entities. Applicants must serve Lake County, Indiana, like I already said, and they have to have that history of serving Lake County. The applicants may submit only one proposal, so if you do have a few ideas for your projects, pick the best one and move forward with it. And we strongly encourage projects that involve collaboration with local residents, artists, businesses, and community groups throughout the design and implementation process. My recommendation is wherever you can, bring in partnerships that make sense on the local community level, do so. So now I'm going to turn it over to Donna, and she's going to focus in on project eligibility and then some eligible and ineligible expenses.
Hey, good morning, everyone. So projects that are eligible for these awards should activate public spaces or create community places where people gather and spend time. Projects can include creating or upgrading spaces. They must be located in Lake County, Indiana. And public spaces may not require a membership fee or paid subscription for individuals to access or participate in the primary public space. The exceptions to that may be considered for vendors, like if you're having some sort of an event. Vendors and specific activities within the space that may include associated fees, and overall space must remain open and accessible to the broader community. Examples of these types of projects include examples of eligible projects, public space development, including like downtown plazas or neighborhood hubs, park enhancements, including creating or upgrading parks, adding community gardens, green space, multiple purpose sporting or outdoor gathering areas, outdoor performance spaces like band shells, amphitheaters, or other multi-use platforms, recreation amenities by creating or upgrading public recreation spaces, and this also includes indoor and outdoor venues, and indoor and outdoor public market spaces through the development of permanent spaces that support local vendors. Food access, community gathering, those types of projects are also eligible. Eligible expenses. Okay, so funds may be used to support costs directly associated with the planning and development, construction, and activation of these public spaces. These expenses may include planning and project development, like site assessment, community engagement, professional services, engineering, architecture, and all of the permitting and regulatory approvals that go along with that kind of project. Construction and capital improvements are also eligible expenses. So construction, renovation, or rehab of public spaces, site prep and infrastructure improvements, ADA improvements, utilities, lighting, landscaping, and hardscape, permanent structures like the plazas, the pavilions, the market stalls, all of that are also eligible expenses. Placemaking and space enhancements are eligible expenses. For instance, public art installations or cultural design elements, wayfinding signage so people know where they're going, lighting, other placemaking features, site furnishing, so benches, bike racks, planters, shade structures, those are also all eligible expenses. And implementation and admin costs. So we're talking about project management and coordination, all of the staff time that's related to project planning and implementation, administrative overhead costs associated with implementing this project. Administrative and staff expenses may not exceed 10% of that total grant request. So let's move on to ineligible expenses. And those include ongoing programmatic activities and recurring program costs that are unrelated to the physical space. A recurring event series, for instance, would be ineligible. Funds may be used to launch and engage the public, but that ongoing programming or operations need to demonstrate how those costs will be sustained through other funding sources. So that should also be a part of your grant. Other ineligible expenses include the maintenance projects or expenses for your space, General organization operating expenses not directly tied to the project. Property acquisition or land purchase unless otherwise approved by the foundation. Debt repayment or refinancing of existing obligations. Expenses incurred prior to grant approval. Lobbying or political activities, and endowments or reserve funds, all are ineligible expenses.
Okay, so now we're going to shift into the application process. And so we are taking a two-phase approach for this application process. We are currently in round one, which is the proposal application phase. And we're currently accepting those proposals until 5 p.m. Central Time on Sunday, June 7th. Please note that I did say Sunday, June 7th, and so that is a weekend, so plan accordingly, please. And so notifications for this round will be sent out by July 7th, so a month after. And then for those organizations that are selected from round one to be moving on to round two through that invitation only phase, they will have until 5 p.m. Central on Saturday, September 5th to complete a full application. That application will open up on the same day that the notification is sent out to them. And this round two application, Donna will go over a little bit of what it will entail later on, but it really provides an opportunity for applicants to dive deeper into their proposed project and allow the committee to learn more about those details. Notifications will be sent out by Tuesday, October 20th. All applications for both of these rounds will need to be completed on Legacy's online grant portal, which we will be viewing shortly thanks to Kelly B. And if your organization has applied previously for a Legacy Foundation grant, you will be using your current grant account to complete this application. If you are new to the system, you will create a new account, which she will go over shortly. So what type of information are we looking for as part of this application for the proposal in round one? I do not want to go over every single question with you, but I do want to highlight a few things. First thing being, each question narrative as part of the proposal application does have a character limit of between 1,500 and 3,000 per question. And then one of the first questions you will be asked is around the physical location of the project. I know we said it a few times already on this Zoom, but once again, it needs to be in Lake County. So please put a physical address that is in Lake County. And if the applicant does not currently own the land, please describe in that section the agreement that is currently in place for the use of that land. If you have an attachment of a signed agreement, an MOU, something that you can upload. There is a section at the end of the application that is project specific uploads, and then there is an additional upload section. I would encourage you to add that information so it is very clear to the committee that this is an agreed upon project on this land, even if the applicant does not own the land. You will be asked to identify two dollar amounts relatively early on in your proposal, one being the amount that you are requesting. Please be realistic about this grant request amount. Donna will be highlighting some tips on this later. And then the second one is the total project cost. For this number, please only include the actual cash expenditures. We know in-kind contributions are very, very important to projects, but please do not include that in this total project cost dollar amount. The application will then ask you to describe the project and then also the organization leading the project and its ability to manage the project. My recommendation in this section is to please give examples of similar projects, especially projects of similar budget amounts. The committee is going to want to see that the organization that is going to be managing the financial component of the project, especially, I mean, on all levels, but especially those within the more larger scale awards, have the history and the ability to manage this type of award amount. For the budget narrative, we are looking to see how funds are going to be used in the proposed project, and if you have already identified or anticipated funding sources for the project, or if you receive the grant funding, will that leverage additional dollars or resources for the project? A line item budget is not required for this first round of the application proposal, but it will be required for round 2. So if you have one already created for your project, you are welcome to attach it in the upload section of the application. And then you can, if there's updates that are needed for round 2, you're more than welcome to do that as well. But if you have it, you might as well upload it so we have more information. As mentioned before, the community piece is a priority of the goals of this initiative. So please describe how the project will address the need of the community, the public benefit, and how the community has or will play a role in shaping the space and the components of the space of the project. We're looking for an overview of the current status of the project, so there will be a question around project status, the readiness, and the feasibility of the project. And so if you already have any current plans completed with consultants or permits, that is where you will want to describe those. And really the key piece for that section is going to be demonstrating that you are able to complete the proposed project components that you are wanting to accomplish with this grant by the deadline of November 1st, 2028. Funds and project need to be completed by this date. And I do want to be clear on this. If you have a phased project and the grant component is only focusing on a specific phase of the project, the November 1st, 2028 date is not saying that your entire project needs to be complete by that date. It is specifically the components that the grant is supporting. And then the final narrative components include how the space will remain open and accessible to the broader community. As a reminder, this is a public space, and so it should, as long as the space is in existence, which should be long-term, since the next question is around long-term sustainability, it should remain accessible to the broader community, and it should not be a component of a gated community or a invite only or membership specific type of program. Then you're going to lead into how the space will be sustained for years to come. That goes into the maintenance of it. It will be the responsibility of the applicant to identify whether that is the physical organization that's applying for the grant to be responsible for maintaining, or if it is partner organization, that is where you will describe that. If it is going to be partner organizations that will be responsible for maintaining it, I highly recommend it is not too soon to be identifying and showing us that you are having some commitments being made on paper for those. During phase 2 of the application, you would be required to show on paper that you have those commitments secured if that's the direction you're going. But at minimum, at least a letter of support from those, I think would be highly beneficial for committee review. Then there will be a question around how Legacy Foundation support will be recognized within the project, and that's everything from planned communications to visibility within the project space. You can get creative with this, and so identifying how you anticipate that would look. And then, of course, a project timeline specifically highlighting those key milestones with, of course, that November 1st, 2028 deadline being that end date. Then that final component of the application is where you are able to upload various pieces of information. One section will be specific project uploads, which can be anything from relevant information on if you have specific budgets already created that are line items, if you have cost estimates that you already have secured, if you've already been working with consultants and you have design plans developed, anything that you feel is relevant for us to know about your project, that is where you can upload that information. The second upload section, will be specifically regarding the organization that is applying. We are asking for a list of your current board of directors or your governing body. And then just that final reminder, the deadline to submit this proposal is 5 p.m. Central on Sunday, June 7th. Then I'll pass it back over to Donna to talk briefly on the full application requirements.
Okay, so once you have submitted your proposal and that has been accepted, you will be invited to do a full application. And this may include detailed project budget and timeline, documentation of committed funding or other resources, evidence of site control, status of design, engineering, or other pre-development work that has been done, organizational, financial, and prior grant experience materials, other supporting documentation required within request for full application, and an interview with the grants committee. Next slide. There you go. Application review process. So the priority will be given to projects that show strength in the following areas: community impact and public benefit. Project creates a meaningful, visible, and lasting benefit for Lake County residents and strengthens community connection, civic life, and sense of place. In addition, community involvement and support is a priority. Your project should reflect meaningful community engagement, local input, and demonstrated support from residents, partners, or stakeholders. The availability of matching funds or other committed project resources will also serve as a strong indicator of broader support and investment in that project. So please make sure you add that. Project feasibility and readiness, that your project is realistic, it's well-defined, and supported by an achievable scope, budget, timeline, and implementation plan. Priority will be given to the projects that show strength in these areas, including organizational capacity and stewardship, meaning the applicant has the experience, the staffing, partnerships, and financial capacity to manage the grant and successfully complete the project. Activation of space. The project demonstrates either the activation of a new or distressed public space or improved accessibility or usability of an existing public space. And long-term sustainability. Your project will remain accessible, well-maintained, and actively used over time with a clear plan for ongoing stewardship and community benefit. Okay, your grant request amount can be between $100,000 and $1 million. Organizations should ensure that their request amount is realistic, feasible, and aligned with the full scope of work they can successfully implement. Proposals with inflated budgets, unsupported cost estimates, expenses that are not clearly justified or essential to the project may be viewed less favorably during the review process. Remember, this is competitive.
Okay.
And is that you?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Okay, so for those organizations that are awarded this grant, we as Legacy Foundation staff will be remaining actively engaged throughout each project to support successful implementation and long-term impact. We believe, and it's not just this grant, our Transform Lake County grants, our sponsorship grants, all of our grants, we do like to play a larger role in supporting the organizations, whether it's attending site visits, supporting them in terms of highlighting their successes. And so that's something that as a community foundation and in our role in the community that I really do enjoy, and am proud to be able to say that we're able to provide that additional support. And so we will be able to maintain regular communication with the grantees, provide that guidance, answer those questions, and help address the challenges as they arise. So it is more than just providing that funding. You will get more support from us, and be able to maintain that regular relationship with us moving forward. We will have scheduled check-ins, occasional site visits, and we will create that space to celebrate your progress, strengthen the relationships throughout the community with you. If you have a pressure point in your project that a new relationship might help with, but you just don't know that direction of where to go to start building that relationship, that's something that we can help support you with, and really help just better understand project needs and successes along the way. As a grantee, you will be required to provide periodic product progress updates aligned with our reporting requirements. And then projects will be supported through shared milestones, timelines, and deliverables to help keep the implementation moving forward. And then finally, just highlighting one more time and then a little bit more extensive, the full grant project timeline. So I know we said it quite a few times, but proposals for this phase one is due Sunday, June 7th at 5 o'clock Central Time. And the application portal does shut down at 5 o'clock Central Time. So you will not be able to submit an application if it is after 5 o'clock. It will automatically turn off. I do not recommend you wait until 4:59 to submit your proposal.
Can I
Finalists.
also add, though, that we will not have staff, managing the application process on Saturday and Sunday that weekend. So if you do have any questions about the application or submitting, make sure that you get those in by Friday because, we don't want any urgent last minute requests coming in Sunday afternoon when we don't have anybody who will be working.
That's a great point. Yes, yes. Please keep that in mind. Friday, by all means, feel free to reach out. Saturday, Sunday, if you send us an email, there's no guarantee that you will hear a response. Finalists will be notified and the full application period will open for those that are invited to complete a full application by Tuesday, July 7th. And then that full application will be due on Saturday, September 5th, once again at 5 p.m. Central. And then just as Kelly mentioned, that same timeline for submitting questions will apply with it being a Saturday. So by Friday, September 4th, you will want to have any questions submitted to us to guarantee a response. And then recipients will be notified and grant agreements will be sent out by Tuesday, October 20th. And then the final date to submit those signed grant agreements will be November 19th. really the timeline to be moving forward with initial first payment will be dependent on when you submit that signed agreement to us. Traditionally, we are usually ready to move forward in most circumstances with a first payment, or at least processing to move forward based on the project timeline. Once that signed agreement is in place and we have all of your information that is needed. Now, if your timeline is a little different, then that your payout timeline might look a little different, and that's something that's part of the grant agreement. But for the most part, with the November 1st, 2028 deadline, my assumption is projects are going to be getting started relatively quickly once the grant agreements are getting submitted back to us. So really, it will be all dependent upon when grant agreements are returned back to us and signed, and all of that information is completed virtually through that grant portal, same grant portal that you are completing your application in. And now I am going to stop sharing my screen and pass it along to Kelly B, who will do a quick overview of getting you into the grant system, how to set up an account if you are a first-time user, and all of those great things.
All right, so while we're getting over there, thank you for those who have submitted questions. We've got some good ones in the chat, and we will be going over those shortly. So Miranda's going to keep an eye on the chat while I'm talking, but keep putting those in there. And now we're just trying to find where my screen is that we need to share. Let's get rid of this. Okay, I think we are making progress here. All right, can everybody see the screen? Okay, so depending on how you have gotten the link to get to the application, you might land in one of two places. So if you know exactly where you're going and you come straight to our website, then you're looking for this grant login button that's up in the top, and you'll click on that. Make sure you stay away from the scholarship login. Those are two different portals in our system. They don't talk to one another, and we don't want you to get lost. So stick to the grant login. If you are clicking a link from a separate email to get in, it's probably going to land you on the Apply for a Grant page. So when you get here, you'll just scroll down a little bit and look for the Begin Your Application button. So we'll just go in from there, and it'll land you on the homepage of the portal. If you have been into the system before, you'll just enter in your information and click Log On. There is a Forgot Your Password button there if you need it. If neither of those things are working, don't create a new account. Send me an email or give me a call and I can help you reset that. If you've not been into the system before, you'll need to create a new account. And just keep in mind that the information on this page is not asked for anywhere else in the application. So you do want to make sure that everything gets entered in correctly and that you're not leaving anything blank, because we'll use this to create an account for you. When you enter your EIN number, if you get a message that says that that number already exists in our system, please reach out and I can take a look and see who from your organization might already have an account and get you added into that so that you can see all of the information that you need to. So you'll fill all of this out, you'll click Next, it'll ask if you're the executive director. If you are, it'll move you straight into creating a password. If you're not, you'll enter in that person's information and then create the password. Once you've done that, it'll take you straight to the login button, but I won't make you watch me do that. So we will enter into the system, and it's going to land you on this home page. If you've applied for anything in the past, all of that information will be laid out here for you. But the main thing that you're looking for is the Apply button here. So we will click on the Apply. You can take a look at any other opportunities that we have open and see if anything else might be a fit for your organization. But this is what we want, the $4 million investment Love Where You Live grant. Scroll down a little bit more. If someone from your organization would like to look at the questions before you submit, make sure that it's a good opportunity for you, you can click the preview and print out all of the questions from there. If you already know you want to do it, then you're going to click apply. So you can see at the top all the information that you entered in the account creation screen is here. If you did that a while ago and notice that some things have changed, please reach out and I'm happy to update that information for you. There's a little button up in the corner, Collaborate. That might be really helpful for you if you have a lot of the program details, but you don't have everything and you would like someone to give you some assistance. You can click Collaborate and then you'll enter in that person's email address and choose what they can do. Can they just look at it? Can they help you by making some edits? Or can they make the edits and submit on your behalf? You'll type them a message, hey, I'd really like you to help me with the program timeline for this, and then click Invite. The system will send them an automated email to either create an account if they've never been in the system before, or to help them log in. When they log in, back on our home dashboard, that request to collaborate will be found right here under Assign to You. So they would just click on the Collaborate under the Assign to You and can get in to help you. But we'll go back into our application. So then when you get started, you're just scrolling through, answering the questions that are in the system. Everything is pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You're welcome to work in a Word document and then copy and paste your answers in if that's easier for you, maybe to have a shared document that you're working on as a group and then paste the answers in. The character limits that Miranda was talking about, those are listed underneath each question. So just one more thing that we'll point out, all of the upload sections that she was talking about, those are down towards the bottom of the application. So when you upload a file, you do have to have everything as a single PDF document. If you tried to upload one file and then upload a second file, you're just going to be replacing one page for another. So you want to make sure that those are a single document. And sometimes you do have to play with how you save that because the system does require some size restrictions on those uploads. If you're really having trouble with that, reach out. But the main thing is just to make sure that you have it uploaded as a single PDF. When you're all finished, make sure that you take a moment to review the application. We won't reopen an application once it's submitted for edits or additions. So just make sure that you like what you have and click that button, and then don't forget to push the submit button down here. The system does save in real time, but before you log out, it's never a bad idea to click the save button just to make sure. And if you take a look at this and you decide, you know, this really isn't the time for us, if you can click the abandon request button on the side, that helps us, and then you won't get any reminders saying deadlines are approaching or anything like that. So that is the very quick application. I don't think we missed anything that we needed. But again, if you have any questions on how to navigate the system, feel free to reach out and we're happy to walk through that with you. So I will stop sharing for the moment.
Great. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you to everyone who has submitted questions. We are going to move into the Q&A section of the webinar now. So if you do have additional questions, feel free to continue adding them to the chat. We will get through as many as we can. And then any questions that we are unable to get to, we will be sure to add them to an FAQ and then send all of that information out to everyone that has registered, as well as add it to our website for anyone to be able to view.
So before we jump into the questions, I do want to say, and hi, I'm Kelly Aino. I'm the president and CEO at Legacy Foundation. And just to give kind of the, what are we looking for, right? Like that gave all the technical stuff, but what are we looking for as you think about your projects and what are we trying to achieve? You know, and we want really community-driven ideas that can transform places and build places where people can connect. So really, we're looking to invest in projects that are ready to move forward, reflect the identity and voice of the community, that create welcoming and inclusive environments where people can gather and connect and belong. So we want to see things that have a strong and clear community benefit, that there's organizational capacity to be able to make this happen. I know, Miranda and Donna talked quite a bit about sustainability. So, we want to see lasting impact, vibrant, accessible places that strengthen connection, quality of life, and help people in Lake County feel more pride and more connection to where they live, because that's what we heard people want, in different surveys and focus groups. And so as you're thinking about your project, think about, does it create opportunities for people to gather and connect? Is it welcoming and inclusive to diverse populations? Will people feel comfortable just showing up in this space? Is it a space where, people are welcome to just show up, hang out, connect? Is it open for the public use and benefit? And so that's just kind of a few things as you think about it, getting to the heart of it. Sorry about that. You can jump back into questions, Miranda.
No, absolutely. Thank you. So there are a few that I know for sure I want to get to because it was asked a couple times. So is there a connection with this grant to any of our other Legacy Foundation grants? If a town recently received a Transform Lake County grant, does that impact their eligibility for this grant? No. So you are allowed to apply for this grant even if you currently have another Legacy Foundation grant actively open. It doesn't matter if that's a Transform Lake County grant, a resilience grant, a sponsorship grant. It does not matter. You are eligible to still apply for this, as well as if you are awarded for this grant, that does not make you ineligible for another opportunity down the road with Legacy Foundation grant opportunities during this grant period. And then with that also, when it comes to some of the questions.
Do you want me to read the questions,
Okay.
Miranda? And you can
That'd be great.
answer?
Thank you.
Okay.
Trying to help
first
you.
one, are rental fees for the space okay?
So I would say if the general space is free to utilize, but there's a component that is an addition, but it's for a specific piece, but the full at-large piece is free for anyone to utilize, then potentially that would be okay. But we're really wanting to see these spaces to be accessible and free of charge for everyone.
So how about tickets for events and exhibits?
So your one-off events, your one-off projects, programs, we do understand that there is a need for, when it comes to sustainability, you might need to have some low-cost attendance, ticket sales, things like that. So if it is a specific one-off project, ticket sale, things like that, that would be okay. But once again, it's not the specific piece of it, and it's not going to be you need to pay this admittance to enter it every single time you go.
Right. So an example I think would be that if we have, if you're looking at, entrepreneurship, for example, you don't want to create a space that's maybe business incubator that is just a bunch of business, or entrepreneurs that are renting offices. And then that's it, right? And then that's just really open to and for the people who are there renting the space. But if you had maybe like a farmer's market type thing and different vendors might rent spaces, but there's also activities and things going on for people to come and visit. That's kind of the
Correct.
differentiation.
Correct.
Okay, does the total project cost number only reflect the amount we are requesting or the total cost to activate the new space?
So for the there's two questions asking about dollar amounts. The first question is the amount that you're requesting, and then the second question is asking for the total project, how much do you need to complete it? Now, when you're thinking about if it's different phases, I would probably include the dollar amount specific to the phase that you are focusing on for the grant application. So if you have a five phase project for this park or space, and you're going to be applying for 3 of the 5 phases, that dollar amount, I would focus on just those 3 phases that you're applying for. However, I would include information in the application so we do see the full big picture of what the entire space can and will look like eventually.
All right, next question. Could the park department apply and upgrade or create features at more than one site? Gary has 50 plus parks.
Unfortunately, the Parks Department would have to select one location. I know that is such a hard decision to select a single space. But as an entity, only one proposal per project, or one project per applicant. You know what I'm saying? I'm so sorry. One application per organization. I'll get it out.
Per location. For the upload of renderings and pictures, is there a preferred format or requirement for those uploads?
I'm going to ask Kelly B if you could talk about this one, please.
And also, Kelly, the next question is file size.
Yeah, there is not a necessary preferred. The system will allow you to upload whatever format you have. We are pretty restricted on those size limits. So if it's something where you can't save it as a smaller file, reach out. You can send me a Dropbox link or something else that holds those files, and I can make sure that that's attached in a separate way to the application for the committee to see it. So it's one of those, do your best, and then reach out and we'll come up with a different solution if necessary.
Okay. Next question. I understand only one application can be submitted, but what about partners? Can they be a collaborator on one project and submit their own?
Yes. So as a lead applicant, you can only submit one application, but you can be a partner on another application.
Okay. There are $2 estimates to include in the application, a grant request amount and a total project cost. For the total project cost estimate to be submitted, do we include any investment amounts into the site prior to the grant request? Expected relevant future investments?
I would say, so I think that goes back to the question previously we answered. So I would focus on what you are requesting and that specific phase, going back to kind of the phase example. So if you are focusing on a specific piece of the project, total project cost, focusing on that total amount that is needed for that specific part of the project that you're requesting to complete with the grant dollars. However, whether it's part of the upload or if you are able to put it in conjunction with a narrative piece, giving that bigger picture. If you have additional investment dollars potentially coming in or already they were brought into the organization for other phases, mention that in one of the budget narrative sections so we can see that there has already been investments made into the space, even if it's not specifically for the phase that you're looking to have completed through this grant opportunity.
Okay. Next question, are infrastructure upgrades eligible for the grant?
So I'm going to go back to the public spaces piece. So if the space is going to be open to the community, if it's going to be community focused, if the residents are going to be able to utilize it and be welcome to it and all of those wonderful things, then yes. And so those are the pieces that you need to be thinking about.
Yes. And I mean, I would say I would see this being primarily capital infrastructure, led. Our next question, in-kind contributions should not be listed in the narrative project cost question. If we upload a line-by-line grant budget, should we continue excluding in-kind contributions?
So clarification on that. We are not wanting the in the total project cost, we are not wanting in-kind to be included in that total amount. But in your budget narrative, we are wanting to see those additional investments. Yes. So whether you have a line by line item budget, or if you're just utilizing the budget narrative section to include, if you have people investing in, whether it is in kind or cash, talk about it. But it's that physical, it's one of those first questions asking about the total project cost. That is where we are not wanting to see in-kind contributions included.
Okay, next question. Will you provide a list of all those who attended so we can see other organizations that are interested in partnerships?
So we traditionally do not share contact information for those who attended events, webinars, just for privacy of people who are registering. I will say, you can see who's on the call. So, I mean, if you see somebody that you are interested in, there is a feature for you to message them, I suppose. But I guess if that is something that you are interested in, and if you are wanting to have your information shared, perhaps that's something we can talk about. But traditionally we do not, because that's just from a confidentiality standpoint. A lot of emails are not public.
Okay, next question. Will you make available clarification questions?
Absolutely, yes. I'm very excited for the number of questions that we have had on this Zoom. So we will be creating a more formal FAQ built off of these questions that have been submitted. We'll send it out via email with the follow-up and upload it to the website.
Okay, will this grant open back up in the future?
At this moment, this is a one-time grant opportunity, as it currently is built.
Yeah, and this is through a grant that we received from the Lilly Endowment. And so, it is an opportunity that we have to be able to put additional funding out into the community through this initiative. And so, unless Lilly decides to do it again, at this point, this is, all we have planned. And then will you be giving the remaining 1 million portion of the total 5 million grant, or is that something already listed in the grants that Legacy offers?
So my guess is that additional million is from the announcement event that was at IBEW a few weeks ago. And so that additional million that was announced at that event was a distribution between 3 additional investments, one being additional investments into our Transform Lake County grants over the next 2 years, one being an additional $300,000.
So that's in the, just for the sake of time,
Okay,
that's in the grants that we already offer. And so the 4 million is for Love Where You Live. Can one municipality with many departments submit their own? Say Parks submits one and redevelopment submits another. Can they do this, or do they need to collaborate and pick one? I would say it's one per EIN. So, if there's a separate tax ID numbers and separate, it's a separate organization legally, then you can submit a separate grant. Next question, we're a 501c3 located on the county line of Lake and Porter. We're looking at the opportunity to serve and are looking to underwrite our vision of an inclusive outdoor space along with improvements and upgrades of existing structures for our life center. Would a Porter County address preclude us from applying?
So the project needs to take place in Lake County. If your organization has a Porter County address, but you have space in Lake County, you would still be eligible. But the project needs to take place in Lake County.
So the project address needs to be Lake County. Okay. And then the only other Rick Peltier says Brian Alenkowski, he can call his agent. So call Rick's agent. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much. That's all the questions that we have right now. So did you have anything, Miranda, to wrap it up?
No, I just want to thank everyone for joining us today. We're only 3 minutes over. I'm proud of us. And we got through all the questions. So we will follow up via email with the recording, with the FAQ. And if you have any questions as you navigate through the application process, please do not hesitate to reach out to Donna. And you all have a great day.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.